professionals and practitioners in the healthcare sector. So I've been doing technology for about 19 years now, in various industries. Most of it has been focused within healthcare. And I can only tell you that obviously over the past 18 years, 19, 20 years, there's been tremendous change and push in the overall landscape of technology and where we are today. So when I started my career in technology, we used to look at what we used to refer to as automation, which is we're doing things in a manual manner. How do we take that and how do we change that on an electronic basis and basically just move our manual data or our manual processes into more of an automated technique. So over the course of the next 20 minutes, hopefully I'll be able to give you a glimpse of what has changed over the past 20 years as it relates to that. But before I get into that detail, a big thank you to the Saudi Heart Association and the organizers, and once again, it's a pleasure and an honor to be with all of you as esteemed professionals in this space. I just need is this the clicker? There we go. Thank you very much. All right, so let's just look at some facts here to set the stage as it relates to the digital landscape. So when we talk about digital today, we're not really just talking about the information system or in maybe the world of healthcare, the electronic health record or the electronic medical record. For a number of years and decades, a lot of focus and emphasis has been on that. The world of technology and the world of digital has changed, and a lot of new innovations have been brought forth. And when we look at some of the data just in front of you here, one fact that professionals in the digital space are very clear on is no matter how much change and growth we've seen in the past 10 and 20 years, the growth that is expected in the next 5 and 10, 20 years ahead of us is going to be exponential to the growth that we've seen in the past 5 and 10 years. So if we are already amazed and not able to keep up with what we've seen till date, trust me, what is coming in the next few years is beyond what we've seen in the past 20 years. So it's about time that we get into the mindset and the habit to say, well, digital's here, it's here to stay. It's going to do more and more. It's going to impact the way I go about my life, the way I go about my profession. So how do I embrace that culture? Because it's a culture. It's no longer looking at the technology or the system. It's the organization, it's the process, it's the people, it's the way we interact with one another. It's the mindset of how we can leverage digital to help us be more efficient and more effective, rather than worrying about digital taking over our job or our role. So how do we embrace it in a manner where it can actually enable us to be more efficient, more productive, but in the world of healthcare, how can it help us become more proactive and support our patients or our consumers before they become patients to actually enable them to go about a better life? When we look at things like sensors, which some of you may be familiar with, and in the healthcare profession, sensor technologies have been there for quite some time. But the connection of sensors into the digital age, where a sensor can today actually detect things proactively and send me messages and alerts, that whole component and that whole phenomena of the digital revolution is, once again, only at the early stage, in my view, at the infancy stage. And we're seeing more and more of that day by day. By 2020, one statistic here tells you that, which is next year, 26 smart objects for every human being on Earth will be made available. And when we look at the organizations of the world and the Fortune 500 companies, there's a disruption has actually demolished a number of organizations, but on the same token, a number of new organizations have risen and things have changed. What does that mean for us in healthcare? Well, when we look at the traditional hospital, is that the hospital that we're going to be referring to in the next 5 or 10, 15 years? Is that physical space or that physical location that people are known to be going to get the level of care, is that going to remain or is that going to change? So some food for thought for us to be